Good evening, guys. Got another little video for you today. Got a new gun. I got a Volquartsen Scorpion X, and I told you guys I'd do a review on it for you. So I'm going to do a quick review on that for you tonight. Had a chance to shoot it at a match this weekend and getting it sighted in and everything. So I'm going to give you my opinion on it and my likes, dislikes. But before we get into that, if you like my channel, please subscribe. I should have a little button in one of these corners that you can click on and it'll subscribe you to my channel. I'm trying to get to that magic 1,000 number, and I still got a long ways to go. So if you like my channel, please subscribe. At the end of the videos, I'll have some links to some other videos you guys can check out as well. So let's get started. Got this in the mail Thursday, took it to the range Friday, and sighted it in. I put a Holosun 507C on it, and I got it sighted in Friday. Took it to a steel challenge match Saturday and shot it, and really enjoyed it. It's a great pistol. So it came in a nice plastic hard case. Manuals and everything in it were kind of sparse. Did come with two little tools. Came with a little spanner wrench, and that is for the muzzle brake on the front of it. And then it came with this little doodad, which is, if you're not familiar with what that's for, because at first I was like, oh, wait a minute, what's that for? It's actually for popping your lever, because this is a Mark III design. Volquartsen they utilize Ruger designs, and they've got two different Ruger designs. They've got their Mamba series, which is based off of the Mark IV Ruger frame. It's a polymer frame on the Mamba. On the Scorpion is based on the Mark III design, and the difference is the Mark III has the takedown lever. It's kind of a pain in the butt, but if you do it enough, you kind of get used to it. Where the Mark IV it's just a push button, comes apart real easy. So everybody's thinking, well, that just sounds better. It is, but I wanted to get the most accuracy out of it, and I've always felt that the Mark III, Mark II, Mark I designs locked up tighter than what the Mark IV design locks up. So I decided to go with the Scorpion. Now, the difference between the Scorpion and the Mamba, other than the takedown lever, is the Mamba has a polymer frame where the Scorpion is an aluminum frame. And personally, I just like to avoid the polymers as much as possible, because I just like to, when I grab a hold of a gun, I want it to feel quality, and to me, metal just feels more quality. You know, personal preference. I've got to handle the Mambas, and the Mambas are awesome pistols. I mean, I really can't say that you'd go wrong with going with one of those. But so went with this, and so my reasoning for this was initially I had met this couple at one of the Steel Challenge matches, and they were shooting they had CWA 1911, 2011 pistols, and I really like 1911 designs. The 1911 design just points really good for me, and it points probably out of everything that I've tried, the 1911 design points most naturally for me. So one of the things I've struggled just a little bit with is sometimes losing my red dots, so I want something that generally points a little bit better for me, to where I'm not having to hunt for my dot, you know, and I can keep my times better. And so, you know, I talked to CWA about getting me a 1911 built, and at this time he's not wanting to build 1911s, he's only wanting to build 2011s, and I really didn't want a 2011 because I like the slightly narrower 1911 frame. So, and so, you know, being left-handed, generally 1911s you can get, you know, just more accessories for, things like that are suited for for left-handed persons. And I wanted to be able to put a thumb rest on one of my pistols. So, you know, I was looking at the Volquartsen, and I was like, okay, I can do that pretty easy on that pistol, because they make a Picatinny rail that goes on the bottom of the barrel. Unfortunately, that's going to lead me to my first dislike about this pistol, is that for some reason, this is the Scorpion X series. For some reason, this one is not drilled and tapped on the bottom of the barrel for those rails, where they do drill and tap their other barrels, I guess, for the rails. So I was expecting this one to be drilled and tapped, and it's not. So either I'm going to have to send it back to Volquartsen and see if they'll drill and tap it for me, or I'm just going to have to go out to the shop and do it myself. And I'm not really worried about doing it myself. I mean, that'd be pretty straightforward on this pistol. As long as it doesn't void the warranty or anything, because I don't really want to void the warranty, because these do come with a lifetime warranty. So not the cheapest pistol. I bought this off Gunbroker and had it shipped to my house here, and I think I paid just under $1,400 with shipping and tax and everything for just this pistol. And then the Hollow Sun sight, I got that on sale for like $263. And like I said, it's a Hollow Sun 507C X2 series, and it comes with the circle dot, and you can choose between just the circle, just the dot, or you can have the circle and the dot. So far I've been shooting it with the circle and the dot. So I went with the Scorpion X series because, as you can see, it is very flat on top, so you can mount the sights directly to the top of the receiver. They come pre-drilled, as you can see, for multiple mounting places. They only come with the screw holes for mounting. They don't come with the little pin holes for mounting the pins. Being a 22, it's probably not a problem. I doubt you're ever going to get that thing to shear off. But it fits quite a few sights. The Hollow Suns are RMR footprints, but it fit the Scorpion, or not Scorpion, the Viper, the Venoms, and there were some other ones. I can't remember all of them, but they were listed on their site. And then I thought about seeing if I could either drill and tap it for maybe a set of sights at some point, because I've seen some others do that. And that was also why they offer this in two versions. They offer it in a 4.5-inch version and a 6-inch version. And I really debated on if I wanted to go with the 4.5-inch, because the 4.5-inch is definitely going to swing a little bit faster than the 6-inch. But I was shooting the Smith & Wesson Victory prior to this, and I really don't have any complaints about this pistol, other than what I've kind of covered in some previous videos. I really like this pistol. It points pretty good for me, but it's not exact, and the angle and everything is very similar to a 1911, but it's got a little bit of an arch here on the back, and it's causing it to point down for me just a little bit. And there's not really a good way to fix this. I could try changing the grips or something, maybe getting around to it. But going to the 1911 design, it's a flat back on the strap, completely flat on the back, like your typical 1911 is. And that just points a little bit better for my hands. Everybody's different. I would encourage everybody to try different pistols to see which one's best. I got to say the Smith wasn't holding me back. I don't think I wasn't. Although I did break 2 or 3 of my scores yesterday shooting this one. Which I was pretty happy to see that. So it shoots really well for me. So yesterday we shot a 6-stage, 5 qualifiers, and 1 outlaw stage. That was my first chance to shoot an outlaw stage, and those are really fun. I really enjoyed shooting outlaw stage. I did pretty well at it. But I shot 5 qualifiers, and I broke 3 of my previous best times with this pistol, shooting it for the first time. So that's a pretty good sign, I think. But like I said, I really don't feel like the Smith was holding me back. It's a good gun. It's perfectly accurate. And I took them both to the range Friday with me just to kind of make sure this one was still sighted in good, and it was. And to resight this one in. And I shot. I ended up shooting both the Federal Auto Match, and I shot the Norm Attack 22 out of it, and like the Norm Attack 22 better for accuracy. I didn't have any jams at the range with it, but I did. So I was so happy with accuracy and the fact that it ran it really good. And I think Volquartsen even recommends you to shoot CCI standard velocity with these as their preferred ammo. So, you know, I figured the TAC 22 was fairly close to that, you know, velocity wise, which I think they are. But it seemed to really like it. I'll put a picture in of the two targets, comparing them side by side. The Volquartsen, now this is not, I wasn't using a bench rest or anything like that. I was simply freehanding it 20 yards, and I shot a couple targets with each. And like I said, I've got a picture that I'll pop on here that you can look at to just kind of give you an idea of what both guns did, just standing freehand. And the Volquartsen overall was just a tick more accurate than the Smith & Wesson Performance Center. Is it worth double the price? You know, that's going to depend on you and how you handle the firearm. You know, if you like the grip better, the feel of it better, I will say that the Smith feels really, really good. It's a steel gun. It's got some weight to it. Ironically, this weighs 2 pounds 3 ounces as configured. This weighs 2 pounds 3 ounces as configured. And then I also have a Ruger Mark III tactical, and guess what this weighs? This weighs 2 pounds 3 ounces as configured. So the difference is this is a polymer frame gun, and I'm guessing the sight's a little bit heavier. It's got a steel heavy bull barrel on this, which is, you can tell that where the weight's coming from, because this one is very muzzle heavy. This gun compared to the Smith it has a steel liner, and I believe Volquartsen is using Lothar Walther liners, which are excellent 22 barrels. They're good, hard 22 barrels, will last indefinitely pretty much. I don't know that you could wear one out. If you've ever wore one out, put a comment down in the section, because I'd like to know. But other than that, the rest of this gun is aluminum. So although it is a little long, it's not as heavy as it probably looks. But I mean, when you grab it, you can feel that you're grabbing a metal gun. It is more muzzle heavy than the Smith. So as you can see, kind of side by side, it is a little bit longer. The Smith, being all steel, is actually balanced really well. I gotta say the balance on this is probably a little nicer than the Volquartsen, but it'd be very minimum. The balance point is probably maybe right in front of the trigger on this gun, whereas the Volquartsen is just ever so slightly forward. It's probably right around the front of the trigger guard, maybe just a little bit hair back from that, right about there. So it's probably the balance point on this one is probably a half to 3/4 of an inch further forward. Now, if you watch some of my other videos, you'll know that as you move weight forward in a gun, that slows it down. So in a pistol, that's not necessarily a bad thing. In a rifle, I prefer to not have a muzzle heavy in a rifle. I prefer to either be neutral or butt heavy in a rifle. But on a pistol, I'd rather be just the exact opposite. I'd rather be either fairly neutral or just slightly muzzle heavy, which both of these are just slightly muzzle heavy. But it's real close. So let's see if I can show you a picture of the sight. I think you can kind of see that right there, maybe. Might be too bright in here. There it is. It's a 32 MOA circle with a 2 MOA dot. Honestly, I could probably turn the dot off because I really don't even know that I used it. The circle is smaller than all the targets we shoot in the Still Challenge. If you watch my other videos, you know that I'm shooting a Hollow Sun 510 on my rifle, and it has I believe it was a 65 MOA circle. And originally I thought, oh, that's going to be way too big, but it's really not. I don't think it overlaps a circle. I think it may be right around the same size as a few, but for the most part, it's smaller than all the plates that we shoot in Still Challenge. So, like I said, the 32 MOA dot is way smaller. So my dislikes, like I said, I noted it's lacking the drill and tap for the Picatinny rail, and like I said, I wanted that because what I want to do is I don't want to drill and tap the frame, and I want a thumb rest, a little gas pedal for my thumb. And with the Picatinny rail, I was just going to fabricate or see if I could find one to buy that latches onto the Picatinny rail and comes out to the left side for me. I've seen right-handed ones and that do that, but I haven't seen any left-handed ones. So if you happen to know of a left-handed one for a Picatinny rail, drop me a comment because I'd like to know about that. Save me from having to fabricate something. So that was one of my dislikes. The trigger on this one, the trigger pull is great. This one measures 1 pound, 13 ounces straight out of the box. I'd expect with some use for that to probably lighten up just a little bit. My Smith is like 2 pounds, 4 ounces. And if you'll notice on the Smith & Wesson Victory, it's got a flat trigger, and I really like flat triggers. This has a bit of a rounded trigger. There's no texture to it, and it's very smooth. It's fairly wide. I can't really complain about the width. It is take up and over travel adjustable. It is, it's hard to describe the trigger pull. Both of them have great trigger pulls. This one blows the Smith out of the water. There was a few times that I almost just didn't even realize I'd pulled the trigger yesterday when shooting Still Challenge. And I had to kind of like catch myself like, whoa, I'd shot. I need to keep going. The trigger is just that good on these. It's a phenomenal trigger. But I do want to see if I can find a flat one. I think Tandem Cross makes a flat trigger. I may pick one of those up and throw it on there and see if it works out good. But I don't want to increase the poundage because I really like that lighter poundage on here. That's really my only dislikes. Well, I take that back. I got one more dislike. So this is the aluminum frame because it's a Scorpion, and the aluminum frame is a two-piece design. You can see where it is split in front of the trigger guard. The trigger guard is solid, and then on the back you can see where it is split too. I mean, you can also see where the screws are that kind of hold it together. It's probably not ever going to be a problem whatsoever. I would just prefer it to be a one-piece frame versus a split. There's probably some reason or due to cost that they manufacture it that way. I know Tandem Cross offers a Mark IV, the Kraken frame, and it is a two-piece design just like this one. So like I said, it's a small gripe. I really can't say that it's probably ever going to hurt anything. I just wish it was one piece. Other than that, I really don't have any complaints about it. I like my sights further back. I know some people like their sights further forward, but being really picky, I wish it had the back holes and I wish it didn't have all the front holes. But for you guys that like your sight further forward, you probably feel the opposite. It's really got, I would call it 2.5 sets because the middle set is not a full pattern like the front and back. So like I said, you can see the front set has a full set, the middle does not. But I believe the RMR footprint will fit on the back or the front. The RMR will not fit in the middle. So if you are one of those people that like it in the middle, then that's probably not for you. So they offer the Scorpion in the X series, which is what this is, and then they also offer the Standard series, which has the Picatinny rail. And I thought about that because that series it's a little more rounded. It's not flat top like this, but in the Picatinny rail is machined into the top, so where you can get a Picatinny rail pretty low to the barrel, but it ain't that low. Like I said, I mean that is just as low as you can get without actually machining down into the receiver even more. All right, so like I said, let's talk about a few more of the likes. It's got extended controls. Mag release is extended, the slide release is extended, and the safety is extended. Being left-handed, I don't have a problem accidentally hitting any of them. The bolt, it had two options. If you notice, the bolt is really shiny. That is a DLC coating. They also offer a titanium nitride coating. I went with the DLC just because I kind of went with this blacked out look. The DLC is a diamond light coating. It's a real hard finish. It makes it really easy to slide in and out. The amount of friction that is in this is just next to nothing. There's just very little wasted energy in that bolt moving back and forth in this pistol. Whereas on my Smith, it's not quite as smooth. It is not bad, but I can feel a little bit of uneven metal to metal contact. Whereas the factory Ruger, I can feel a lot of uneven metal to metal. I mean, you can kind of hear it's nowhere near as smooth as the Volquartsen. But it was just a really smooth pistol. I did have two jams. So let's talk about the magazines and why I believe I had those jams. So the pistol ships with two magazines. What Volquartsen does with their magazines is it is a factory Ruger magazine. You can see the little factory Ruger stamp on there, and you can see where I scribbled a number because I number all my magazines. But what they do is the base plate and the body is Ruger. I don't know if the follower is. I'm going to say the follower is probably Ruger as well, but they do change out the spring and they change out the button. So to give you an idea of what I'm talking about, you can see this one kind of has like a checkering where this has the typical Ruger circle. The springs are different. Volquartsen puts a extra power spring in there is what they claim it to be. And I'm gonna say it probably is. It is a thicker spring. If you don't know how to take a Ruger mag apart, you simply take a little Allen or whatever. There's a little button you push in on it, and you just pop it forward, and then the mag base comes right off. Don't shoot these because these will launch out in outer space. So looking at everything else, the little buttons are identical. I can't tell that one's any different than the other, so I don't think they are. They're roughly about the same price. There's probably about a $5 difference between just buying our factory Ruger mag and buying the Volquartsen mag. So this is the Ruger spring. This is the Volquartsen spring. As you can see, there is a difference in the lengths. So, but the Volquartsen spring is thicker and heavier. I really don't have a good way to measure spring tension, but I would say that you end up having to compress this one more, and as you compress the spring, it kind of multiplies its force. So is it a lot heavier? No, it's probably not, but I will say one thing that it is significantly easier to put back together. And I'll show you what I'm talking about here, is that this one is really easy to go right back in. You can kind of set it with your finger, and you can kind of put that right back on there, pop it back in, it's together. So those go together really easy. This, I don't even know how to describe that. You kind of gotta like feed it in there a little bit at a time, and it kind of wants to wad up on you, and you kind of got to hold your tongue just right, and you can kind of get it to pop in. So, like I said, I will give Volquartsen a thumbs up for doing the shorter, a little bit heavier spring, because it's a whole lot easier to take apart and put back together. So I did have 2 jams yesterday. They were on the very first round of the magazine. I'd load one round. It was on the second mag on both times that it happened to me. So what my thought is just with a full loaded 10 round mag, there was enough tension that it slowed. It didn't let the shell kick out all the way, and kind of hung up. So that caused me problems twice. Now, that only happened with the Norma TAC 22, which is a standard velocity ammo. After it happened the second time to me, I switched over to the Federal Auto Match, which is a little bit hotter of a round, and I had absolutely no problems. So what that was telling me is that either it broke in a little bit, or that Norma wasn't fully cycling the bolt hard enough to pick up that round on that first mag sometimes. Other than that, these mags are a little rough. They're not polished or anything like that. I'm going to go through and polish probably the lip where the button rides on. I'll probably polish the buttons. And one little tip, some of you guys probably already know this. When you have a magazine in a gun, if the button is on the left side, it will lock it open, right? So if you take that button out and put it on the other side, on the right side, it won't hold it open. So if you don't want it to hold open after your last round is fired, you can swap that button. Some people like that, some people don't. So like I said, little tip right there. Compared to the Smith & Wesson magazines, I'm really disappointed in the Ruger mags overall though. The Smith mags they're a better mag. They've got these are just the spring's about the big round as a pencil, and they're long. Where the Smith & Wesson magazines, it's a full width spring that rides in there it looks like an actual magazine spring, where these kind of feel like a toy spring. So I will give a thumbs up to Smith & Wesson. They designed a better mag than Ruger did. So I think that's about it. Like I said, great pistol. Really happy with it. Shoots great. It's very, very accurate. I think the reliability is going to probably come in after I get a few more rounds through it. When I took it to the range Friday, I think I put right about 100, maybe 150 rounds through it. And then I put another 150, 200 rounds through it yesterday. So like I said, I figure it's probably going to break in where it'll probably run standard velocity perfectly fine. Like I said, I just had those 2 little failure 2 ejects on that first round. If I was to probably only put 9 rounds in my second mags, probably wouldn't be a problem, and I probably wouldn't have had any jams. Other than that, it ran the Norma TAC 22 perfectly fine, and then it ran the Federal Auto Match flawlessly. It hits the cases really good. It looks good. It's got some nice milling on the barrel and everything, so it looks pretty unique. I've had a lot of people ask me if I'm shooting a suppressor. They did offer 2 different compensators. The Scorpion X comes with the single port, and Volquartsen also offers one that's got 2 little holes drilled on both sides. I like the bigger open ports more, and I may end up fabricating something to put on this just to play around. I don't know yet. I do like this one quite a bit. I like the open ports better because I think they're a little more effective, and they're easier to clean because they get dirty really, really fast. I think Volquartsen even offers a little special tool for cleaning theirs if you're interested in that. I'm not sponsored by Volquartsen in any way, by the way. Throw that out there. I'm not sponsored by Hollow Sun in any way. I'm not sponsored by Ruger, Smith & Wesson, any of those companies. So, like I said, I've got, if I had something bad to say about this, I'd absolutely say it. But like I said, overall, I'm very happy with this pistol. I'm going to keep shooting it for now. May let my son shoot my Smith & Wesson Victory and play with that one and go to some matches with me. But like I said, great pistol. Hope you enjoyed this video. Be sure to like and subscribe to my videos if you like them and you want to see more. If there's something else you want to see that I don't have out there yet, please put it down in the comments. If you run into me at a match, please come talk to me. Like I said, I like talking about guns and everything else, so it's my favorite topic. And we'll see you out on the range. Have a good day.